Hello and welcome back to the Tangles and Tunes channel. My name is David and today I want to share with you a simple drawing. I hope that you will enjoy watching along, or better yet, I hope you will have fun drawing with me. But let's get started. So today I want to point out I'm using a Zentangle 3.5 inch by 3.5 inch tan or Renaissance tile they're called, and I'm doing that because I want to use some white highlights and gel pens today, and it will just show up much nicer on the tan than it would, let's say, on a white surface. But we're going to start the drawing with our pencil, and we're going to divide the tile into some even sections here to help with placement and drawing. So I'm just using light lines that I'm dividing the tile in approximately the center. And then once I've created those sections, I'm going to divide those in half again with a simple line that will help with placement and proportions. These don't have to be perfectly straight or anything like that. They're just a guideline so you can tell where you're placing things on the tile. All right, so I don't know how well you can see that. I guess I can zoom in a tiny bit further. And so now we've got this very basic grid work, and I want to take, if you look at, like, on my pen here, pencil, I'm using this cap as a gauge, so I'm going to go in about that far on all of these four quadrants. So just coming in roughly the same spot. You can use your pencil, the eraser, or whatever it is that you've got, and I'm just creating a couple marks here on each of the four sides, so that I can create, because I'm going to draw a circle. And when you freehand draw a circle, it's nice to have some guidelines. So I'm just going to put a curve like that, and we'll do the same. I'm rotating it just to make it easier. Just a simple curve. Now we could also just trace draw around a circular shape if we had it, a small cup or a coin or something like that. But in this case, I just want to freehand it. But I want to do it so that it's as circular as I can do it freehand. So I'm using these little marks kind of as a cheat, if you will, or a call out for where my lines need to meet, and that way I'll know it's going to be about as smooth as of a circle, about as round of a shape as I can get. And it's roughly then in the center of my tile. So now I'm going to go right to the center and draw a smaller circle just to get me started there. Now, as you look here, we're going to go ahead and grab our pen. Whoop, not my big wide one. I just want my 01 pen. And now we're going to draw a shape here. I want to draw like a football shape or a seed. Some people think of it like a seed, where I'm going to start and end here, start here, end here. And I'm going to draw it out roughly like this. So I'm going to use this line as a guide so that both sides are going to be about the same. So I'm going to come out, just holding the pencil very loosely. Don't want to put tons of pressure on it or hold it so tightly that it makes our lines wavy and wobbly. And we'll do the same thing here. If you get a little imperfection and you are doing like I'm doing here, where you're creating multiple lines, don't worry. We're going to make those lines very bold later. All right, now I'm going to draw a circle in the center. Okay. And now coming off of this circle, following a curve, we're going to make like an S, a nice, gentle, lazy S shape. We're going to end right down there. Then we'll flip the tile around. We're going to do the exact same thing here. And now with that shape in place, we're going to aura, or make parallel lines to this one. And in Zentangle, aura means that we create another line that is parallel to an existing line, or follows that line around. And so we're going to start narrow up here. We're going to come around and we're going to make it wider at the bottom. So watch how this goes. Just like that. And now we'll repeat this. And as we get up roughly to where that circle is, horizontally, we're going to not be able to follow that S curve much anymore. So we're just going to create more subtle rounded or curves, and we'll fill in this entire area just like that. And then let's flip this over and we'll do the same thing to this other side. Now, on these lines that we've drawn, we're going to create triangular shapes here at the bottom, on the bottom side. So if this is the line, this side of it. This is the line, this side of it. So that we're going to go just like this and create little triangular shapes and ink them in. And we'll do that all the way up. They don't have to be precisely the same size, but you want to try to make them roughly the same size, so there's some symmetry there. Obviously, as we get into these smaller areas, the size is going to get smaller, just to keep it consistent with the line that we're working with. And so we've got that sort of zebra effect, if you will, along there, and we're going to just flip it over and do the same thing on these, again on that bottom side. One thing, like with these little imperfections that I had here, don't let that bog you down. This is just a time for you to create, for you to enjoy some peaceful moments, quiet your mind, enjoy putting pen to paper, and just feel that creative satisfaction. So you don't have to worry about being perfect. I mean, obviously, if you're creating a piece of art for a client or a customer or something, and you're going to sell it, or you've been paid commission to do it, obviously you're going to want to do your very best, and sometimes that means starting over or creating a way to overcome those simple errors. But when you're just creating for yourself, for those moments of relaxation or zen, some people like to think of it, don't get bogged down in that. Don't be intimidated by human imperfections. No human is perfect. And the more you practice, the more you draw, the more times you set aside for yourself to enjoy that process, the better you'll become. But don't ever delude yourself into thinking you'll reach a point where you no longer make mistakes. That is simply not an issue in the human world that I live in. I've been drawing my entire life, different kinds of drawing, and you'll find errors creeping in no matter what, but just enjoy the process. So we've got those basic shapes. Now I'm going to get a heavier pen. If you don't have a heavier pen, I guess like let's say a Sharpie or a heavier Micron pen, you can just go over these lines multiple times very carefully to create a bolder line. But that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to create a bolded line by just following along where I originally do that. And you can see those little imperfections more or less vanish anyway now behind this bolder line. Okay, and now I'm also going to trace over these initial lines that I drew, those little S-shaped lines. I'm going to complete this circle, and I'm going to also ink in this inner circle here. So we've got like that. And now I'm going to ink in this outer circle that we drew with our pencil. So we'll do whatever way if you prefer to pull the pen toward you or push the pen or do it in pieces, that's fine. Just be relaxed and just draw this as smoothly as you're able. And when you start, whoops, I'm off camera, I apologize. And when you stop and start, you want to go back on your line a little bit and retrace it as carefully as you can to help avoid those gnarly little bumps that always seem to appear in lines when we start them. And you'll still be able to see it if you know what you're looking for, but you're going to just try to make that as smooth as you can. Okay, we've got that. So now I'm going to go back to my regular pen, and I'm going to create some little marks here. I want to go outward on each of our 4 quadrants like we drew in the center. I'm just going to create a little flick like this. And let me show you on the back what I'm doing. So I'm going to zoom in again, even closer. So I'm going to create a little squiggle and then flick my pen out. Squiggle and out. Just a little squiggle and out. And you can go as long or as short as you need to. But we're just creating little marks that are bolder or more visible at that one end. And that's all we're going to do. We're going to go around and do this here. Zoom back a little. So we're going to create this. I'm going to create one here. 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 And now we're going to imagine from the center to this corner where a line there would go. And I'm going to draw, I want to be as light as I can. I just want to sort of let the pen skip along. And you see I didn't perfectly hit the corner. That's okay. Come here. We're going to go across. We want to create a line. But we're not worried about it being real dark or perfect. We want to create some movement here. And this is what we're doing. So here, we'll go to this corner. Now we're not drawing in here, but just in this outer circle and outside that circle. Okay? And those little flicks that we did a moment ago, we'll do more of those. So bear with me here. Got ahead of myself. So we're creating some lines. Now we've created these 4 sections. Now picture from here to here that we're going to divide that one in half. So we're starting here in the center, drawing that, and we're doing the same here from that center. It keeps those lines in harmony with each other. Okay, so we've created those. Now we're going to do those little flicks that I talked about. We're going to go in these little sections and make some of these flicks starting right on this heavier line. So we're going to go out, maybe 2 or 3 in each area. And you can vary the lengths of them so that they're not exactly the same. And then we've got it all the way around like that. Now, on the ones that go all the way out to the edge, so not these, but the ones that we drew a moment ago that go all the way out, we're going to create a triangle on those, but instead of staying on one side, we're going to go to both sides, and then we'll ink that in. Again, they don't have to be perfectly uniform, but you want to try to keep them similarly sized to create a uniform look here. So we're creating a little triangular shape by creating a line that emanates from each side of that existing line. And remember, this type of drawing is non-representational. That means we're not trying to represent or duplicate something. We're not trying to say, hey, this is a drawing of such and such. It is simply a pattern, a design. And it may use repetitive shapes in some cases and repetitive ideas, but it's not supposed to be anything. That way you can't look at it, or no one else should be able to look at it and say, oh, you know what, that doesn't look like such and such. It just looks like what it is. So that can be freeing for you as well. If you're new to art, or if you're an old pro and you just want to get away from some of the stress of things, even if it's self-induced stress, you can just set those things aside. Just draw. Have fun. Doesn't matter. That's why mistakes are technically in Zentangle, as I've said before, there are no mistakes. But in all art, you can have that same philosophy and simply say, when I flub up, so to speak, it's just a happy accident and it doesn't hurt anything, and you just keep on rolling. All right, so we've got our shape with these various things going on around it. Now we're going to add some graphite. So we'll take our pencil and we're going to add some graphite around these bolded lines, just around the edges. Don't lay it on heavy, or don't press super hard, but give yourself enough there that we can smooth it out a ways away from that line. And you'll see what I mean in just a moment. We want to be able to move that graphite around to create a kind of a fun 3D effect. Or at least dimensional of some kind. Maybe it's not 3 dimensions, but we want it to appear in that way. So we've created that border. I'm also going to lay some graphite along these darker lines on the inside. So these lines almost look like they go underneath this line. And the same down here. These lines look like they go underneath here. So I'm going to create a little bit of a shadow with graphite that will help to give an illusion that those are further away, or that they dip down and go inside there. And now we also want to add some graphite to the outside of our circle. Now that we've got that graphite in the places we want it, I'm going to take my tortillon and I'm just going to blend this bit of graphite away, meaning away from the line, and smooth it out so it gets lighter as I get further away from that line. So we've created that shadow. I'm going to tip this up a little bit. I don't know if that'll make a difference the way the light hits it so that you can see a little better. But we've created some dimensionality there. And now we've got the outside here to do yet. Now let's grab our white chalk if you have it. And if you don't have it, don't worry about it. It's not an essential step, but in this case it adds an awful lot of visual interest to the drawing, at least in my opinion. So I'm just laying down some white chalk here, which we treat it similar to graphite, but it's not like graphite. It's literally chalk. It's a certain type of artist chalk. And I'm creating this highlight on what I imagine would be the highest part of that roll or that curve in this drawing. So I'm just laying some chalk down in here, and we'll blend this with a tortillon as well. And now I'm going to put some white chalk out here on these outer edges, just on the left and right edge, and kind of blend that in a little bit as well. We'll bring that in with a tortillon or a paper stump, but I just want to create some highlight along this edge. Again, just because I'm just creating a certain look here that I want. If you have a different idea that you want to apply on your drawing, you go right ahead. So now I'm going to take my other tortillon, not a dirty one, but just one that's clean. I'm going to just blend this white chalk so that it looks a little smoother. And now I want to take my gel pen, if it'll cooperate with me. I've had some trouble with my gel pens lately, but I'm just using a Jelly Roll gel pen, white ink, and I'm going to create some additional little white highlights along the drawing. So one thing I'm going to do on these little triangles that I created in the bottom of each of those, or what I'm calling the bottom, I'm going to create just a simple little white mark. Very subtle. Oh, there goes my pen again. With gel pens, you have to be very gentle with that roller, especially when you're using white, because it just doesn't want to come out very well. I have to go back over it. But we created that. I'm going to create a little bit of a light reflection dot or something there. And now I'm going to create little white marks on these, along with a tiny little white line beside, or almost beside, that black line. Now I'm going to add just a few little flicks, not every line, but maybe every 2 or 3 lines, just like we did with the black ink, where we create the little glob and then flick up. I'm going to do that with the white here. And that is the end of our drawing. As I said at the beginning, it's just a very simple, even a silly piece of art if you want to think of it that way, but it gave us a few minutes here together to share, and hopefully it gave you a chance to clear your mind and enjoy a little quiet before the rest of the day or evening sets upon you. So thank you again very much for joining with me. I look forward to seeing you again soon back here in the Tangles and Tunes channel. Thank you. Bye-bye.